This man is a top-tier shaman known as the King of Instant Death. However, at 18, he was just a boy bullied by everyone. But he possesses extraordinary talent in casting curses. A simple sword dance makes the school bully pay the price. Through this twist of fate, he becomes a shaman who profits corporations. In this world, shamans are no longer frauds, and they have clear rankings. Third-rate shamans serve individuals, offering only simple advice. Second-rate shamans serve corporations, helping them profit. First-rate shamans serve politicians, even manipulating elections, thereby gaining fame and wealth. However, once the corporations they serve go bankrupt or the politicians fall from power, they meet terrible ends as well. The man who meets these standards is a first-rate shaman, Cheon Ji-seung. He now arrives at Yeouido by helicopter. Countless corporations have established roots here. This is a place where billions can be easily earned or lost. Shaman culture thrives here. This is where the stars of the shaman world gather. Here, shamans can be seen on every street. With that, Cheon Ji-seung arrives at his destination. This is where he works. His assistant has already arranged the schedule. Cheon Ji-seung changes his clothes. He pushes open the door. Before him lies a ritual chamber. Sacrificial offerings, ritual tools, and a musical ensemble are all prepared. The goal this time is to make the rival company's stock price drop. For every 1% the stock falls, he earns 1 billion won in cash. Ji-seung marvels at the scale of this operation. Who did the rival company hire? The assistant immediately responds that it's a savage god with 50 years of experience. Rumors say the recent market crash was his doing. Ji-seung scoffs at this, because the farther a savage god is from his active radius, the weaker he becomes. This means Ji-seung can completely suppress him. The music then begins. Ji-seung dances to the rhythm. He then slaughters the sacrifice. This scene makes the staff vomit. Ji-seung ignites the talisman. As water pours down, the ritual concludes. Meanwhile, the stock market opens. Everyone at the exchange exchanges bewildered looks. The stock price plummets to negative 10%. A man realizes his company's shaman has lost, defeated by the King of Instant Death. As expected, the shaman they hired has been sent to the hospital. Cheon Ji-seung is a professional shaman who profits corporations. Now this is the story of how he became the best in the industry. 7 years ago in Moon Village, Ji-seung and his grandmother lived in a defunct shrine. In her youth, grandmother was the most powerful shaman here and quite wealthy. But now her children have stolen all her assets. Now Ji-seung, the unwanted child, lives with only his grandmother. During Ji-seung's high school years, grandmother developed dementia. Ji-seung has been taking care of her ever since. Ji-seung prepares to leave for school. Seeing he's about to be late, he rushes out. Arriving at school, his misfortune doesn't end there. Just one step away, the scene before him makes Ji-seung freeze. His desk has been covered with red bean porridge. The group that bullies him is chatting and laughing nearby. The school bully Kim Jae-hyun even casually greets him. It's the winter solstice today. I specially bought this red bean porridge for you. Ji-seung ignores him. He steps forward to clean his desk, but Kim Jae-hyun suddenly slams him onto the desk. Who told you to clean it up? Are you going to ignore your friend's kindness? Ji-seung looks up and glares at Kim Jae-hyun. This makes him flinch. To save face, he threatens Ji-seung as he leaves. Ji-seung still ignores him. He slams the door and leaves. After he's gone, the group worries if Kim Jae-hyun will be cursed, but Kim Jae-hyun sneers. Let him try. My dad is a pastor anyway. Ji-seung hears the classroom chatter clearly. Anger makes him clench his fists. He won't let this slide. He has his own final resort. Ji-seung first goes to a butcher shop to buy blood sausage. Then he prints Kim Jae-hyun's photo at the library. Finally, he returns home. Grandmother thinks it's mealtime. Ji-seung says it's not time yet. From grandmother, he learns that the demolition team has already come by. Ji-seung searches through the cabinet. He finds a key. He tells grandmother they'll eat soon. They have blood sausage today. Ji-seung arrives at a room door. He unlocks it with the key. This is the ritual chamber grandmother used before. Ji-seung saw grandmother perform rituals as a child. Casting a curse requires 4 elements. First, a target. Second, a sacrifice. Third, music. Finally, ritual tools. The preparations are complete. He assumes his stance. You brought this on yourself. He shakes the bell. He swings the blade. The music reaches its climax. First, he slashes the photo. Then he chops the blood sausage. The commotion inside reaches outside. Manager Mi immediately recognizes someone is performing a ritual. Cheol-gun confirms he hears it too. What puzzles Manager Mi is that the old woman here has lost her mind and couldn't possibly cast a death curse. She suspects someone else is inside. Her conclusion, only an old woman and her grandson are inside. Manager Mi orders Cheol-gun to investigate by tonight whether it's really Cheon Ji-seung performing the ritual and the condition of the cursed target. Cheol-gun agrees. He then drives away. Ji-seung inside has no idea what's happening. Meanwhile, Kim Jae-hyun is casually smoking on the rooftop. Suddenly, ash burns him. He falls backward. He plummets from the building. That evening, Cheol-gun reports to Manager Mi. The one performing the ritual is indeed Cheon Ji-seung. Manager Mi wonders who he cursed. It turns out to be a classmate who bullied him. Manager Mi asks about the target's condition. The answer, he fell from a building this afternoon with both legs broken. Manager Mi decides she must recruit this talented shaman. That evening, Ji-seung opens the door to find. Manager Mi has come looking for him. Ji-seung is confused about visitors this late. He assumes they're here for grandmother. But Manager Mi says she's looking for Ji-seung. Ji-seung finds this baffling. The two whisper in front of him. Then they hand him money. Ji-seung thinks they're here to show off their wealth. He tries to dismiss them. But Manager Mi grabs him. Manager Mi wants to buy an hour of his time at 20 times minimum wage. They sit outside a convenience store. Manager Mi complains there's no coffee shop on this street, which makes Ji-seung not know whether to laugh or cry. He accepts the soda. So why are you buying my time? Unexpectedly, Manager Mi states outright that Ji-seung cast a death curse today. She informs him of Kim Jae-hyun's condition. Hearing this, Ji-seung nervously defends himself. He hysterically protests that Kim Jae-hyun was at fault first. Manager Mi doesn't care about that. She's not interested in these matters. What she wants is Ji-seung's talent. Ji-seung doesn't want trouble, so he refuses Manager Mi's proposal. Hearing this, Manager Mi covers his mouth. She emphasizes she's the employer. Shut up and listen. She's not asking him to curse people, but to curse corporations. Ji-seung never imagined corporations could be cursed. Manager Mi explains, if a shrine blesses a corporation, that corporation prospers. Conversely, if a death curse is cast, problems arise. So one can profit by predicting stock prices. Therefore, corporations hire shamans. They're even willing to pay billions. Manager Mi is a talent scout for shamans. She'll price Ji-seung's abilities appropriately. Ji-seung stares at the business card. He wants to become a shaman worth billions. Even if only a few can achieve this, with that money, he could send grandmother to a good nursing home, leave this neighborhood that could be demolished any day, no longer worry about money at 18, and show those who abandoned him. Soon, he makes up his mind. Manager Mi asks for his decision. Ji-seung says he needs money. Hearing this, Manager Mi breathes a sigh of relief. She then wants to take Ji-seung for a test. Ji-seung didn't expect a second hurdle. Manager Mi explains, I can't just hand you a high-paying job for free. I need to verify your abilities. She signals Cheol-gun to get the car. The test won't be for nothing. She'll pay Ji-seung 3,000,000 won for 6 hours. Ji-seung calculates it's actually 3,009,000 won. Hearing this, Manager Mi smiles with amusement. In the car, Manager Mi wants to understand Ji-seung's curse method, so she questions him. What were your 3 elements for the curse? Ji-seung answers, the sacrifice was blood sausage. Hearing this, Manager Mi is taken aback. The music was just some death metal I randomly picked on YouTube. The incantation was one grandmother used before. Manager Mi never expected Ji-seung could break someone's legs with such crude elements. If even one element had been properly prepared, that guy would be dead. Manager Mi can't help feeling secretly delighted. Ji-seung thinks he did something wrong. Next comes the preparation. The ritual will be held tonight. Ji-seung will lead it. First, the sacrifice is a dead cow. The music will be a death metal band. Finally, the ritual tool will be an antique they rent. Soon they arrive at the company. Before them lies a magnificent ritual chamber. Ji-seung has never been to such a place. Manager Mi explains, this is where you'll demonstrate your abilities tonight. Ji-seung thought this would be small scale, but now realizes it's a real ritual. Manager Mi points, start casting the curse now. This is a chat app called Stop Loss Talk. Essentially, it's software for managing complex interpersonal relationships. This is Ji-seung's target today, but he looks completely confused. He doesn't understand why they're showing him this advertisement. Manager Mi introduces it to him. A social app that went viral among Generation Z with 6.2 million registered users. Among recently launched chat apps, it's in a league of its own. What puzzles Manager Mi is that this kid doesn't even know about it. Though annoyed, Ji-seung still doesn't understand why he needs to see this. I already told you when we came in. There's only one purpose. You'll cast a curse to make its stock price drop. That's the test. Seeing Ji-seung's clumsy demeanor, Manager Kim doubts Ji-seung's abilities. Can this kid really pass the test? After all, Stop Loss Talk's parent company Sony Tech saw its stock price rise by a full 33% at yesterday's actual launch. So Manager Kim believes Ji-seung lacks this capability. But if he wants to compete with first-rate shamans, this level is necessary. And don't underestimate Ji-seung. His grandmother saved my life when I was dying of illness. Believe that miracles flow through bloodlines. She then urges Ji-seung to begin. Ji-seung stares at the ritual tool in his hands. He has no idea how to perform such a large-scale ritual. Aside from revenge, he's never performed a ritual before. But he can't back down. His reality is a cliff with no way back. He can only try. Ji-seung begins to move. The music starts playing. The bass player doesn't understand rituals, but he can see Ji-seung can't keep up with the rhythm. His guilty expression makes it obvious, just as he's about to slow down the tempo. To help Ji-seung catch up, Manager Mi asks Cheol-gun if he feels any tremors. Clearly not. What about the room temperature? It hasn't changed either. This makes Manager Kim decide to eliminate Ji-seung. Manager Mi strides forward. She slaps Ji-seung hard across the face. Ji-seung wants to ask why, but Manager Mi says furiously, you're here to demonstrate your ability, not to perform a monkey show. Ji-seung innocently says he followed the steps. What more does she want? This curse lacks killing intent. The curse you cast on your bully had at least a little killing intent. Now with better conditions, there's no killing intent at all. Ji-seung becomes hysterical. He has no reason to curse a corporation and no experience. How can he curse properly? It's actually simple. Just concentrate all your negative emotions into one point and release them. Ji-seung clearly doesn't understand. Manager Mi continues. Your resentment toward the parents who abandoned you. Your helplessness at being unable to care for your only family. Your anxiety from financial struggles. Your alienation from peers because you have no money and no parents. Your hatred from enduring long-term bullying. If that's not enough, add the humiliation you just felt. Cast the curse again, though furious. What angers Ji-seung most is that every word Manager Mi said is true. Ji-seung wants to prove himself himself and sees this opportunity. So now he gets serious. First, he smears blood on the wooden blade. Then he grips the blade in reverse. Seeing this, Manager Mi signals to restart. Powerful music surges forth. Ji-seung performs the sword dance to the rhythm. This time, he not only keeps pace, but moves faster than the beat, until every last ounce of strength is drained. This makes Cheol-gun tremble. The room temperature drops. Manager Mi watches Ji-seung's figure. She seems to see grandmother's shadow. The next second, she freezes. A black lotus blooms from Ji-seung's chest. The ritual concludes. Manager Mi can't help but shed tears. She believes Ji-seung will definitely become the strongest shaman. Having completed everything, Ji-seung's strength fails. His consciousness fades. Before collapsing, he thinks of grandmother. Then he falls from anemia. Seeing this, Manager Mi rushes forward to check Ji-seung's condition. Ji-seung is eventually sent to the hospital. Meanwhile, in an office building somewhere, a man sits anxiously at his computer. Despite being a company veteran, he's been subtly marginalized recently. He also feels excluded by the software itself. He opens administrator privileges. He hesitates whether to open the user logs. Once opened, stop-loss talk will be destroyed. But he doesn't notice a door appearing behind him. Inside the door is a ghostly hand. It slowly approaches the man. It makes the choice for him. This is Ji-seung's death curse technique. Evil ghost reaching palm, 8-armed hand ghost. When the man comes to his senses, the damage is already done. In the morning, Ji-seung is still recovering in the hospital. Manager Mi tends to him. She then calls the company boss. This man is Justin, CEO of Gold Cross. Justin immediately complains that Manager Mi is calling too early. Manager Mi scolds him. Being early doesn't mean we won't make money, does it? Hearing this, Justin perks up. He asks Manager Mi for details. Manager Mi instructs Justin to short Sony Tech when the market opens. Justin is skeptical. Sony Tech stock is currently rising steadily. But on second thought, Manager Mi wouldn't call without confidence. Manager Mi asks about the company's liquid assets. The answer is about 8 billion won. Hearing this, Manager Mi says it's too little. Justin nearly jumps up. 8 billion is more than enough for one short sale. And I haven't even agreed yet. Shorting a steadily rising stock requires caution. Hearing this, Manager Mi stakes her 2 billion won year-end bonus, but demands the commission rate increase to 10%. Justin thinks this money-obsessed woman has lost her mind. She must have found a star. So he agrees. But Manager Mi has one more thing. She warns Justin to sleep with women less often or he'll lose his fortune. Justin immediately pushes away 2 women. He's eager to make money now. Ji-seung finally wakes up 2.5 hours later. He opens his eyes to see Manager Mi in a bathrobe. This embarrasses him. He quickly asks Manager Mi to get dressed. Manager Mi changes the subject. It's market opening time now. This is the moment Ji-seung changes his fate. However, the fate-changing moment doesn't come easily. Instead, there's bitter silence. Sony Tech's stock price is rising in real time. This makes Ji-seung suspect something went wrong. The company's stock isn't falling at all. It's rising. At this moment, Manager Kim enters and interrupts. If the company suffers losses this time, the team leader will be responsible. Manager Mi is certain the stock will fall. Manager Kim remains skeptical. Manager Mi becomes irritated. I've earned the company over 10 billion won with an 82% success rate. I'm certain the stock will drop before closing. If there are losses, I'll take full responsibility. Tell the board not to be cowards. Ji-seung feels suffocated, though he's not responsible. He doesn't understand why this woman remains unwavering. 2.5 minutes later, the turning point begins. The downward trend becomes increasingly clear, eventually turning into a crash. Ji-seung isn't sure if it succeeded, but Manager Mi's expression says everything. Everyone at the exchange erupts in chaos. No one knows what happened. Rumors say insiders have started selling. At this moment, a man catches everyone's attention. News breaks that a developer unauthorized opened the login logs. Everyone crowds around. The screen shows the hacked version of stop-loss talk. The news has spread. The culprit behind all this fled overseas that very day. Next comes massive user exodus. Nearly 1 million users deleted their accounts that day. The software for managing complex relationships lost all credibility. The stock price experienced 3 consecutive crashes. It's now worthless. Ji-seung sees the news. He cautiously asks if they succeeded. Manager Mi never expected. Ji-seung could destroy a company with just one death curse. Accurately speaking, not just one company, but an entire division. This can no longer be described as monstrous. This kid is clearly a human money printing machine. Clearly, Ji-seung passed with unexpected results. This makes him breathe a sigh of relief. Ji-seung officially becomes a Yoido shaman. Manager Mi tells Ji-seung to call her team leader from now on. They'll be seeing each other often. Next comes the time to collect the rewards. Manager Mi brings Ji-seung to meet Justin at the company. Ji-seung has never been to such a luxurious place. He only snaps back to reality when Manager Mi introduces Justin. Justin never expected the hired shaman to be just a kid. Ji-seung thinks he won't be accepted because of his age. But Justin doesn't care. He hands Ji-seung his business card. He says he has high expectations. After all, no one would refuse a money printing machine. Manager Mi tells Justin to get to the point. He claps his hands. A case of cash is brought before Ji-seung. The total amount is over 500 million won. Ji-seung is in disbelief. This turns out to be his ritual fee. Ji-seung is confused. Wasn't the ritual fee already transferred? Manager Mi explains that was just hourly wage. This is commission. We earned this because of you, so take it as your share. Hearing this, Ji-seung freezes in shock. Until Manager Mi says if you don't want it, give it to me. He snatches the case. He's never seen this much money in his life. Every bit of money had to be carefully budgeted. Even then, he often owed meal fees, so he needs time to process process this. Manager Mi tells Ji-seung to stay calm. The company will help him earn much more in the future. Before leaving, Justin tells Ji-seung not to be poached. He's willing to pay more, having touched money he's never touched in his life. Ji-seung already knows where to spend it first. Ji-seung takes grandmother to a barbecue restaurant. During the meal, he mentions the nursing home. Grandmother asks, "They won't only give one meal a day like you, will they?" Ji-seung doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Including snacks, there are 5 meals. "I can send you there tomorrow. It's not far from home. I can visit every day." Grandmother tells Ji-seung not to say things she doesn't understand. Ji-seung promises to give grandmother a better life. Manager Mi witnesses this scene. She has high hopes for Ji-seung. Cheo-gun also thinks he's different from other shamans. Very kind. Manager Mi hopes Ji-seung can go far. She has a certain inexplicable fondness for him. News of Ji-seung destroying a company quickly reaches other shamans. This man is Lee Ta-shua, chief shaman of Osung Finance. The next day, Ji-seung brings grandmother to the nursing home to complete the paperwork. After paying for 2 years at the nursing home, 400 million won remains. Ji-seung feels like it's not real. Having never possessed such wealth, he doesn't know how to use it. Manager Mi asks Ji-seung what he'll do with the money. Ji-seung wants to buy a place to live first. Beyond that, he suggests depositing the rest in a bank. Manager Mi counters, "A kid like you depositing this much money at once, is that really appropriate?" Ji-seung deflates immediately. Manager Mi decides to teach Ji-seung how to spend money. Ji-seung doesn't understand. Are there other ways to spend money? There may not be many ways to earn money, but there are countless ways to spend it. First is the housing issue. Ji-seung initially thinks living alone is too extravagant. Manager Mi warns Ji-seung, if you're stingy about your living space, you might end up in a psychiatric ward. Ji-seung doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Next comes purchasing furniture, then ritual tools. They arrive at an antique shop. Manager Mi leads Ji-seung to the shop owner. The shop owner sees the deadly aura around Ji-seung. He knows their purpose for coming. Manager Mi compliments the shop owner's sharp perception as always. The shop owner tells Manager Mi to skip the small talk. "What's your budget?" Manager Mi immediately says 100 million won. Ji-seung never imagined a ritual tool would cost this much. For long-term use, it needs to be at least this level. The shop owner then pulls out a box. Inside is a string of skull-shaped bells. Ji-seung immediately picks it up and examines it. This is his first personal ritual tool. The shop owner warns Ji-seung, "Don't let it consume you." Leaving the antique shop, Manager Mi asks Ji-seung how much money remains. About 150 million won is left. Ji-seung wants to save some just in case, but no investment means no returns. Manager Mi tells Ji-seung not to be reluctant. Ji-seung reluctantly agrees. The top priority is an assistant shaman. They have more experience than a novice shaman like you. Most importantly, when your power runs out, the assistant shaman can take over. This woman is the Mephistopheles fairy, Yu Ra-hee. She refuses without hesitation, though she's down on her luck now. Until recently, she was the first disciple of Korea's top cursed shaman. Her pride won't allow her to assist a novice. She emphasizes her business is doing well, but Manager Mi exposes her on the spot. Yu Ra-hee rushes forward to grab the phone. Manager Mi immediately offers generous compensation, then signals Ji-seung. Though reluctant, Ji-seung pulls out several stacks of cash. Manager Mi takes the opportunity to introduce Ji-seung. After all, serving as assistant to Yeouido's most terrifying shaman isn't so bad, so she agrees. Next is a driver and bodyguard. This man is Choi Dae-ho, former Iron Dragon faction action captain. As expected, he refuses. Manager Mi again deploys the power of cash. Indeed, there's no problem money can't solve. Finally, the band. The same one from before. The bass player approaches Ji-seung. He believes Ji-seung can bring inspiration to his music. He hopes to work with Ji-seung long-term. Ji-seung couldn't ask for more. Back in the car, Manager Mi continues talking about precautions. Ji-seung thanks her awkwardly. Manager Mi proudly states she's only helping Ji-seung for the money. Business doesn't require gratitude. One last trip, Ji-seung needs to pack his belongings. The scene before him is unbelievable. His home has become a sea of flames. The words ghost eyes are painted on the wall. Ji-seung knows exactly who did this. He hasn't taken anything out yet. Manager Mi tells Ji-seung to cast another curse. Didn't we just assemble the team today? So perform the sword dance again. Because the building is old, it's basically burned completely. The firefighters apologize for this. Ji-seung can no longer endure this. He's going to end this once and for all. His team arrives at the scene 2.5 minutes later. Manager Mi briefly explains the situation. Bullying at school wasn't enough. They even came and burned down Ji-seung's home. Everyone wants to comfort him but doesn't know how. Ji-seung stares at the ritual tool in his hands. After a moment, he tells anyone who can't handle this to leave. Daeho's motto is just pay me. Yu Ra-hee believes they're asking for death. The bass player says he'll perform a killing melody. Preparations are complete. This is Ji-seung's first fully prepared ritual. The assistant shaman begins chanting the incantation. When the last word falls, Ji-seung begins the sword dance. The sound of shaking bells rings out. It becomes increasingly urgent, finally converging into a death curse. Meanwhile, Kim Jae-hyun is street racing with his companions. The blonde guy worries burning the house will bring consequences, but Kim Jae-hyun is indifferent. There's no politician my dad doesn't know anyway. The blonde guy actually worries Kim Jae-hyun will be cursed again. Kim Jae-hyun says dismissively, "If anything breaks again, I'll kill Cheon Ji-seung." A truck driver nearby complains about these street racing youngsters. Suddenly he discovers a figure has appeared in front of his truck. When he sees clearly, he panics. What's ahead isn't human at all, but a ghost with hollow eyes. This terrifies him into jerking the steering wheel to escape. Unexpectedly, the truck overturns, heading straight toward Kim Jae-hyun's group. After a heavy crash, the scene is chaotic. Kim Jae-hyun doesn't know what happened. His leg is already trapped under the vehicle. He wants to call his companions for help. The next second, his eyes widen in shock. Turns out his companions seem more concerned about themselves. He can only place his hope on the phone nearby. Just as he tries to move toward it, he realizes the motorcycle has completely pinned his leg. At this moment, the sound of high heels echoes in the distance. Kim Jae-hyun immediately calls for help. The sound of high heels grows closer. Finally, the female ghost stands before Kim Jae-hyun. At this point, he can only shout for her to stay away. Then he pulls out a cross as a last struggle. He frantically yells that he's a pastor's son. Before he finishes speaking, a ghostly hand reaches toward him. It grabs the cross. Watching the cross crumble to dust before his eyes, Kim Jae-hyun falls into complete despair. He never imagined Ji-seung could be this ruthless. The person who bullied Ji-seung since elementary school is dead. Though Ji-seung feels somewhat uneasy, he doesn't regret it. He resolves that no one will bully him again. To achieve this, he needs wealth and reputation. So he calls manager Mi. He needs as many jobs as possible now. It doesn't matter which company. Ji-seung and his team perform ritual after ritual. They consecutively destroy several companies. During that time, Ji-seung's group becomes known as the Grim Reaper of Yeouido. Ji-seung earns billions in commission from this. Next comes the time to share the rewards. Ji-seung is no longer alone. Yu Ra-hee feels she's no longer so resistant to assisting a novice shaman. Choi Dae-ho thinks this is much easier than being a gangster. With this money, the band can even release an album. Manager Mi witnesses this scene. She approaches to claim her share. Ji-seung is puzzled. Does manager Mi need money? Whether rich or poor, no one ever thinks they have enough money. Ji-seung thinks she's a greedy demon. Manager Mi is at least 50 times wealthier than him. It seems Ji-seung hasn't prepared a gift for her. Manager Mi angrily turns to leave, but Ji-seung grabs her. Actually, Ji-seung did prepare a gift. He's not an ungrateful person. He then anxiously observes Manager Mi's reaction. Manager Mi is unexpectedly delighted. Of course, there's one for Cheol-gun too, a pair of sunglasses. Despite earning so much money, Ji-seung hasn't even bought himself new clothes. Manager Mi then offers to treat everyone to drinks. The group heads to a bar. Manager Mi sits down next to Ji-seung, but the others are nowhere to be seen. Turns out Yu Ra-hee couldn't handle her alcohol. She caused a scene vomiting in the bathroom and was sent home by Dae-ho. The band went to their rehearsal studio to continue the party. Ji-seung only drank soda, so he's not drunk. Manager Mi happens to have something to discuss privately with Ji-seung. This makes Ji-seung's imagination run wild. Obviously, it's about work. Hearing this, Ji-seung appears flustered, but he doesn't understand what there is to discuss. Actually, Ji-seung's performance has been excellent so far. The problem is your name has spread. Yeouido's financial institutions call you the sudden death shaman, and they're watching you closely. This means Ji-seung may have to face other shamans. They try to protect company stock prices from curse effects, or completely defeat Ji-seung's curses to raise stock prices. They use counter rituals to fight back. This man's purpose is exactly that. He's Kim Woon-suk, strategic director of Fibonacci Capital. Gold Cross has shorted stocks his company has been investing in for months, so his company needs Osong Finance's help to counter the sudden death shaman. Lee Tae-chwa becomes interested, crushing several companies in succession. This is all the sudden death shaman's work. Fibonacci shamans aren't sufficient to handle this, so Kim Woon-seok begs Lee Tae-hwa to perform a ritual. However, Lee Tae-chwa only handles projects of a certain scale. He won't take on something like this, but he won't abandon a company he's worked with so many times, so he'll lend a shaman to Fibonacci. Lee Tae-hwa then calls the shaman in. This massive figure is the shaman for this task. He appears to be a monk weighing over 300 pounds. He is Osong Finance's fifth seat, the Bodhisattva Gongyong Hua. He then arrives at a Chinese restaurant and begins feasting. He looks like he could eat forever. This leaves Kim Woon-suk at a loss. He hopes to start discussing work soon. The assistant signals him not to disturb the Buddha's meal, to accumulate merit. He can only reluctantly agree. 2.5 hours later, Gongyong Hua finally finishes eating. Kim Woon-suk never expected to spend 10 million won on one meal before work even began. The monk before him is thoroughly satisfied. He then whispers to his assistant. The assistant says they can discuss work now. This delights Kim Woon-suk. He quickly pulls out his notes. Their understanding is that Gold Cross's short position expires this Friday, so they'll likely cast the curse between today and Thursday night. The Buddha will begin performing rituals tonight. Kim Woon-suk thanks him repeatedly. There's one more condition. During the ritual period, food like today's must be continuously provided. This means the ritual requires 3 consecutive days of meals. Without this condition, the ritual cannot proceed. Finally, the assistant suggests locating Ji-seung. The Buddha wants to meet him before performing the ritual. Meanwhile, Ji-seung sits in the car. His ritual is scheduled for Thursday, so Manager Mi tells Ji-seung to take care of himself. Seeing his troubled expression, Manager Mi quickly asks what's wrong. Ji-seung is actually anxious. Facing a shaman for the first time, he's afraid he'll lose. Manager Mi tells Ji-seung to stay calm. Besides, she hasn't heard any rumors about the opposing company's counterattack. Don't worry about things that haven't happened yet. Focus on staying in optimal condition. At this moment, Ji-seung arrives at his destination. He walks toward home. Suddenly, a woman blocks his path. She inexplicably says a Buddha wants to see him. him. The location is in the underground parking garage. Ji-seung follows the woman to the parking garage to investigate. The woman opens the truck's cargo compartment. Gongyong Hua sits inside. Ji-seung never expected this massive blob to be called Buddha. Gongyong Hua waves for his assistant to come forward, then whispers in the assistant's ear again. Ji-seung wants to ask something. The assistant tells him to remain silent. The Buddha has a message to convey. First, the introduction. This is one of Yoido's top 5 shamans, the Bodhisattva Gongyong Hua. He's here to inform Ji-seung who he's facing this time. This is exactly what Manager Mi mentioned. This is his first time encountering such a situation. The assistant tells him to give up this job, arrogantly saying Ji-seung is no match. The Buddha's experience far exceeds anything Ji-seung possesses. But because the Buddha is a peace advocate, he's giving Ji-seung a chance to withdraw. If Ji-seung gives up now, the Buddha will give him some gold as a gift. Before finishing, Gongyong Hua pulls gold from his belly and tosses it to Ji-seung. Ji-seung is bewildered by this. Suddenly a voice interrupts them. It's Manager Mi who came because she was worried. She asks Ji-seung why he's listening to a pig squeal. In her view, Gongyong Hua is afraid of this novice Ji-seung. This makes Gongyong Hua angrily stand up and threaten to make Ji-seung taste curse transference. He states bluntly that Ji-seung is a parasite feeding on others' pain. Ji-seung falls into self-doubt for a moment. He hadn't realized his rituals brought suffering to ordinary people. Manager Mi bursts into laughter. Gongyong Hua doesn't seem to understand what this woman finds funny. You call yourself a Buddha, but you just use rituals to inflate the stock prices of worthless companies to attract retail investors. Gold Cross lowers the stock prices of companies with no intrinsic value. Which one is darker is obvious. Gongyong Hua is rendered speechless. Manager Mi tells Cheon Ji-seung to pull himself together. She wants to show this pig who is truly favored by the gods. In the end, they fail to achieve their goal and can only prepare to leave with resentment. Before leaving, Gongyong Hua swears to make Cheon Ji-seung experience what it feels like to be abandoned. He will pour everything into this ritual. He will even use the same standards from his younger days. On the other side, Manager Mi is reminding Cheon Ji-seung about safety precautions, but Cheon Ji-seung appears lost in thought. Manager Mi assumes he is just feeling anxious, but this is not the answer Cheon Ji-seung wants. He does not care about criticism from others. It is just that what Gongyong Hua said before leaving about abandonment particularly concerns him. Because Cheon Ji-seung experienced trauma before, he absolutely cannot tolerate betrayal. His parents frequently fought when he was young. His father would also commit domestic violence. In the end, he even abandoned him. Therefore, Cheon Ji-seung is especially sensitive to the topic of abandonment. Manager Mi promises she will never betray Cheon Ji-seung, as he is the best asset she has ever found. This finally puts Cheon Ji-seung at ease. He gathers his spirit again. Now he needs to know the essentials of battling other shamans. The first priority is to assemble the team. To confront the opposing shaman, Cheon Ji-seung gathers his team. Manager Mi begins leading the meeting. First, attack and defense are essentially a clash of magical power between both sides. This is an all-out battle with no holds barred until one side completely gains the upper hand. Both shamans are betting everything, so this is crucial for Cheon Ji-seung. Yu-ra-hee sighs that Cheon Ji-seung has terrible luck, facing an opposing shaman so soon after entering the profession. Cheon Ji-seung does not yet know how serious this is. In most cases, the defeated shaman will be forced to retire, because the losing side will suffer severe internal injuries, or have their connection to the spirits forcibly severed. Yu-ra-hee is surprised that Cheon Ji-seung does not even know this. Although Gongyong Hua is past his peak, it has only been 10 years. What Cheon Ji-seung is facing now is a former top-tier shaman. Cheon Ji-seung never expected his opponent to be so famous. Suddenly, a pen cap flies over and interrupts the two. On second thought, if Manager Mi were not confident, she would never let Cheon Ji-seung participate. Cheon Ji-seung will have to face this kind of situation sooner or later anyway, so under no circumstances should anyone say things that will damage his confidence. Choi Dae-ho raises his question, does this mean Cheon Ji-seung is the stronger shaman, or is there a strategy to help secure victory? Actually, they all overlook that Cheon Ji-seung is much stronger than imagined. Manager Mi already has a perfect strategy. Gongyong Hua will definitely construct defensive fortifications. Attacks from all directions will be nearly useless against him. However, in other words, he is actually digging his own grave. Time quickly arrives at Thursday night. The preparations on Gongyong Hua's side are complete. He himself is now soaking in a bath. This is a grand feast, and the time is almost right. Gongyong Hua immediately shouts for the ritual master to begin. Everyone starts their tasks at hand. The monk who is frantically consuming raw meat begins to emanate golden spiritual energy. Finally, it condenses into a massive sphere above the company building. Then it explodes with a thunderous boom. This is Gongyong Hua's defensive spell, the Laughing Buddha. It is said to be an incarnation of Maitreya Buddha. He has a large belly and a radiant smile on his face, always carrying a huge cloth bag. He distributes food to the hungry. He teaches others with his extraordinary foresight. Therefore, he is worshipped as a deity in many countries. He serves as a symbol of virtue, luck, and wealth. Manager Mi in the distance also sees this scene. Although their opponent is a benevolent deity, the shaman who summons him may not be benevolent. As she speaks, the Laughing Buddha across from them begins to move. Manager Mi immediately sees through the purpose. As expected, a protective barrier forms above the company building. This makes Manager Mi sigh that their side looks like villains summoning evil gods. Now the ritual is fully prepared, only waiting for the manager's command. Manager Mi immediately orders, begin. Almost at the same moment, Cheon Ji-seung and the support shaman begin chanting spells. The music also begins. Dozens of gates suddenly appear in the sky. Manager Han observes this scene from a distance. seconds, the gates are slowly opening. This is the death curse technique, hungry ghosts of hell. They rapidly attack the laughing Buddha. However, the laughing Buddha slices them in half with a single strike. A group of hungry ghosts is instantly reduced to ashes. Seeing this, the hungry ghosts immediately change formation. The power difference is evident once again. There is no need to avoid battle. The next second, the laughing Buddha scatters a handful of refined rice. It instantly pierces through the attacking hungry ghosts. Attacks continue to come from behind. Seeing this, the laughing Buddha turns and neutralizes the attacks with his cloth bag. It seems Gongyong Hua currently has the upper hand. Cheon Ji-seung is already teetering on the edge of defeat. The laughing Buddha's defense is stronger than expected. The hungry ghosts are being consumed too quickly. Manager Mi immediately tells Cheol-gun to call. She needs to figure out how much distance remains. Cheol-gun immediately makes the call. The answer he gets is 16 feet remaining. Manager Mi thinks it is still too slow and tells Cheon Ji-seung to move faster. Try to strike when the opponent lets their guard down. Manager Mi believes that with Cheon Ji-seung's abilities, he can definitely do it. On the other side, the laughing Buddha has nearly eliminated all the hungry ghosts. This makes Gongyong Hua think that the sudden death shaman is nothing but exaggeration. From the current situation, Cheon Ji-seung cannot possibly be his match. As long as this ritual succeeds, he will be able to reclaim his position. Manager Han shows an expression of admiration. Now he is ready to ramp up the intensity. Although Gongyong Hua blocks the first wave of attacks, he will not let his guard down. Suddenly his expression changes dramatically. He looks up at the sky. Behind the laughing Buddha, a massive gate has appeared at some point. On Cheon Ji-seung's side, he finally completes the 66 feet of blades, and he does not fall off. At this, Manager Mi only smiles slightly. Now the tables are about to turn. This is Cheon Ji-seung's death curse technique, the guillotine general. Gongyong Hua cannot believe that Cheon Ji-seung can complete 2 rituals in such a short time. This is exactly as Manager Mi planned. Actually, it is not that Cheon Ji-seung completed 2 rituals. Rather, 2 rituals were conducted from the very beginning. The support shaman's hungry ghosts of hell were merely a distraction. What secures victory is Cheon Ji-seung's death curse. Actually, at first, Cheon Ji-seung did not even know what these 2 blades were. They represent Blade Mountain Hell. Because the blades are absurdly long, almost no shamans attempt this challenge. But there is no reward without risk. Compared to ordinary blades, this type can amplify Cheon Ji-seung's spiritual power by at least 2 to 3 times. Cheon Ji-seung initially refuses, because this is simply impossible. But Manager Mi grabs hold of him. She always trusts her own judgment. Cheon Ji-seung indeed completes the entire course. Therefore, he can summon a deity to lead him to victory. In the next second, Cheon Ji-seung decisively launches an offensive. The aftermath of the fury directly shakes Gongyong Hua. Manager Han still does not know what is happening. At this moment, the general has already raised his guillotine blade. He swings the blade fiercely toward the laughing Buddha. Watching the attack so close at hand, Gongyong Hua recalls his reason for absolutely not being able to lose. He hears the discussions outside the door clearly. Now he faces a crisis. He suffers from nearly every disease caused by obesity. His subordinates are all preparing to jump ship. Manager Han angrily prepares to confront them, but Gongyong Hua stops her. He does not believe this will change their minds. He will prove himself with his skills. If this ritual fails, he will be fired. So facing this fierce attack, Gongyong Hua can only brace himself and resist. He has a reality that absolutely does not allow him to lose. He immediately instructs Manager Han that he will increase his investment further. This makes Manager Han worry about his physical condition. However, at this point there is no turning back. Manager Han can only reluctantly agree. Currently the battle has reached a fever pitch, but according to what Manager Mi knows, Gongyong Hua cannot possibly hold out this long. It seems that to end the match the 2 rituals must be merged. On the other end, Choi Dae-ho relays this message to Cheon Ji-seung. At this moment Cheon Ji-seung is already struggling. However, he decisively launches another attack. Choi Dae-ho worries about Cheon Ji-seung's physical condition, but no matter what, he must keep moving forward. He cannot stop, because he has companions who have sacrificed so much for this. Now the ritual merging begins. Cheon Ji-seung picks up his ritual tools again. The support shaman leads with the incantation, then the music. Finally, Cheon Ji-seung steps onto the blades once more. This allows him to unleash a powerful force. The same is true on Gongyong Hua's side. Both sides face off once again. Now this battle has evolved into a pure contest of spiritual power. Let them see who is more favored by the gods. The support shaman on Gongyong Hua's side has already burned out. Now he cannot defeat Cheon Ji-seung. Only when dawn arrives will there be a chance. On one side is the rising star called the sudden death shaman. On the other side is the industry elite known as the Bodhisattva. One desperately grasps for the future, the other desperately tries to reclaim past glory. Now is the moment to determine the victor. As the sun climbs over the horizon, morning has arrived. Manager Han sees this and is about to turn back to notify the Bodhisattva. However, Gongyong Hua is already trembling all over. He collapses and loses consciousness on the spot. The laughing Buddha he summoned gradually dissipates. Then the general raises 2 blades. He swings 2 blade energies. This finishes off the opponent. Li Taehua also observes everything from not far away. Gongyong Hua, struck by the backlash, loses consciousness immediately. Manager Han quickly rushes forward to drag him. It takes great effort to pull him out of the bath. She immediately begins emergency measures. She knows how everyone judges Gongyong Hua. Although they all say he is a has-been, or a pig, she does not care. Manager Han's loyalty to Gongyong Hua is not without reason. It goes back to 3 years ago when she first met Gongyong Hua. At that time, Gongyong Hua was not as obese as he is now, though his appetite was still large. When Manager Han was cleaning, she often ended up with a total mess. This devastated her. She thought that coming to Oshang Finance as a secretary would improve her life. Unexpectedly, Unexpectedly, the job turns out to be cleaning up garbage for a cult pig. The next day, Manager Han comes to deliver documents to Gongyong Hua. Gongyong Hua asks for Manager Han's name and asks if she knows that someone in her family is sick. But how could she possibly know when she is so busy with work? Gongyong Hua tells Manager Han to take her family member for a checkup. Manager Han just finds it rather absurd. However, she eventually wavers. She calls her mother. Unfortunately, her mother has pancreatic cancer. Fortunately, it is discovered early and can still be treated. Manager Han tells her mother not to worry about money. She will take care of everything. However, her mother refuses treatment. She does not want her only family member to ruin her life because of her. She feels she has lived long enough. Manager Han has already grown up now. Throughout her life, her mother has always accommodated her wishes. But this time, her mother has made her own decision. At this moment, Manager Han feels a profound sense of helplessness. Gongyong Hua's words shine like a ray of light into her life. He will pay all the medical expenses and let Manager Han take leave until her mother recovers. Manager Han wants to ask why, but Gongyong Hua simply says that perhaps helping those around him might satisfy his insatiable hunger, so he hopes she will not mind the help from a selfish cult pig. This is why she is now desperately performing emergency measures. Seeing Gongyong Hua has no response, she can only weakly pat him. She does not understand why Gongyong Hua cannot save himself, why he would die so miserably. She cannot accept this. Just at this moment, Gongyong Hua finally responds. Everything settles. Now it is time for the final stage. Manager Mi steps forward to bandage Cheon Ji-seung's wounds. Cheon Ji-seung thinks just applying some ointment would be fine. Manager Mi knows he has done his best. Cheon Ji-seung performed very well this time. This is exactly what Cheon Ji-seung wants to hear. However, there is one more thing. Because Cheon Ji-seung won in a counter ritual this time, he will become a star shaman. Manager Mi seems to guess what Cheon Ji-seung is thinking and tells him not to be too ridiculous. Cheon Ji-seung sheepishly defends himself that he was not thinking anything. Actually, what Manager Mi means is that Cheon Ji-seung now has fans and haters. Because Cheon Ji-seung defeated a former top 5 member of Oshong Finance, many financial institutions will come seeking him. These are the fans. Conversely, financial institutions closely tied to Oshong Finance and shamans afraid of losing their jobs are the haters. Cheon Ji-seung is happy that people will support him. He thinks this is a good thing. Before he finishes speaking, Manager Mi flicks his forehead, because sometimes fans can be more terrifying than haters. As expected, the effect of Cheon Ji-seung's ritual this time is remarkable. It is hard not to attract attention. The man before them is Ma Young-sung, the CEO of Hoan Investment, and the man beside him is Salgut, the shaman of Hoan. There is a reason why Cheon Ji-seung attracts so much attention this time. In the history of Yoido, the only shaman to defeat a top-tier shaman during the novice period was Lee Taekwha. If they can recruit Cheon Ji-seung, they will be able to monopolize all cursed shaman business in Yoido. This immediately piques Ma Young-sung's interest. By whatever means necessary, Ma Young-sung must poach Cheon Ji-seung. At this moment, Cheon Ji-seung is exercising with Manager Mi at the gym. This exhausts him thoroughly. Manager Mi appears completely relaxed. The current training is to prevent fainting during rituals. So far, Cheon Ji-seung has relied on willpower to persevere, but if an accident occurs, the game will be over. Hearing this, Cheon Ji-seung no longer dares to complain. However, there is one more thing. Manager Mi instructs Cheon Ji-seung to live with Choi Dae-ho. Cheon Ji-seung thinks it is only for a few days, but Manager Mi's answer is indefinitely. Cheon Ji-seung is a bit confused. Manager Mi asks Cheon Ji-seung to think about it. How did Gongyong Hua find you last time? As mentioned before, winning in a counter ritual made you a major celebrity. People might come looking for you, so you need someone to protect you around the clock. So what is your answer? Anyway, Manager Mi will not accept a negative answer, so naturally, he accepts. The next day, Choi Dae-ho arrives at Cheon Ji-seung's home with his luggage. He then asks where his room is. Cheon Ji-seung has reserved the innermost room for him. Dae-ho's scrutinizing gaze makes Cheon Ji-seung a bit uncomfortable. He now worries whether he can get along well with this former gang member. However, he will soon realize that this is a meaningless worry. The next morning, Cheon Ji-seung hears sounds from the kitchen. It turns out Dae-ho has already prepared a hearty breakfast, and when Cheon Ji-seung takes a bite, he discovers it is not just for show. Moreover, this gang member also knows how to clean. The bathroom immediately becomes sparkling clean. On the way to work, he even provides snacks for Cheon Ji-seung. When Cheon Ji-seung returns home after a day of work, feeling very tired, Dae-ho invites him to have a cup of tea to relax. Looking at the tea in his hand, Cheon Ji-seung voices his question. Did Dae-ho know how to do housework before? Dae-ho thought he was burdening Cheon Ji-seung, but he is just curious. All of this is because Dae-ho has a daughter. Cheon Ji-seung cannot believe Dae-ho is already married. This makes Dae-ho somewhat displeased. Cheon Ji-seung does think that if he is married, shouldn't he return to his family? Dae-ho answers that he is divorced. His daughter was awarded to her mother. He works so hard to earn money for custody. His relationship with his daughter is better than with his wife, but because he has a criminal record, he cannot obtain custody. However, if he has better financial conditions, the court might reconsider. Cheon Ji-seung now thinks Dae-ho is clearly a good father. His own father pays no attention to him at all. Dae-ho does not know how to comfort him for a moment, and can only tell Cheon Ji-seung to finish drinking and go to sleep. Just as Cheon Ji-seung prepares to go to sleep, Dae-ho still offers him words of comfort. This makes Cheon Ji-seung feel an unprecedented warmth. Another busy day ends. This time, Dae-ho prepares hot tea for Cheon Ji-seung. Just at this moment, Dae-ho's daughter calls. He first seeks Cheon Ji-seung's consent, then he answers the call. Dae-ho's daughter is in poor condition. She has been living alone for 3 consecutive days. Her mother has not returned home for 3 days. This infuriates Dae-ho. Hearing this, Cheon Ji-seung holds him back. He suggests they can go pick up Dae-ho's daughter and bring her to his place. Just as they prepare to drive to pick her up, bright lights suddenly flash ahead. A group of cars surrounds them. Before the two can figure out what is happening, Salgut gets out of the car. With him are his lackeys. Cheon Ji-seung appears somewhat panicked. Salgut expresses his desire to talk with Cheon Ji-seung. Dae-ho tells Cheon Ji-seung not to go out. Seeing that Cheon Ji-seung does not get out of the car, Salgut has malicious intentions. He turns to give instructions to White Hair. White Hair blows a whistle. A group of thugs all get out of the cars. It seems they are resorting to violent means. Cheon Ji-seung has only seen this many thugs in movies. Now the movies have become reality. First, he thinks of the police. However, Dae-ho rejects this idea because they simply cannot reach them. Moreover, Dae-ho might get entangled endlessly. Better to call manager Mi and have Cheol-gun come. Then he instructs Cheon Ji-seung that he absolutely must not come out. Cheon Ji-seung still does not know what Dae-ho is going to do. Immediately, he pulls out a gun. The thugs beside them are frantically banging on the car windows. Dae-ho then rolls down the window. First, he points the gun at the thugs. Then he curses his ancestors for 18 generations. This leaves the thugs completely stunned. Salgut thought Cheon Ji-seung would hire a strong bodyguard. However, South Korea is a country with strict gun control. White Hair immediately deduces the gun is an air gun. Hearing this, the thugs all attack Dae-ho. Dae-ho decisively pulls the trigger. A burst of red smoke erupts. Several thugs instantly lose their fighting ability. Immediately, he rummages around in the car. Getting his baton, he finally asks Cheon Ji-seung to repeat what he just said, which are to contact manager Ami and absolutely do not get out of the car. Cheon Ji-seung then apologizes to him. He is sorry for being caught when they were supposed to pick up Dae-ho's daughter. But Dae-ho tells Cheon Ji-seung not to worry. He will fulfill his duties as both a father and an employee. At this moment, the thugs have already stood up and urged the person in the car to come out. The next second, he is sent flying. Dae-ho kicks the car door open. Now wearing a gas mask, he gets out of the car. White Hair immediately orders his men to seize Dae-ho because he cannot shoot at close range. The next second, he freezes. He never expected Dae-ho to have a gas mask. It seems he frequently uses a pepper gun in combat. There's only one person who would do this. White Hair now remembers. This guy is the Iron Dragon faction's action captain. Now his baton is right in front of him. Seeing this, White Hair immediately pulls out a dagger to block. This makes Dae-ho think this guy is pretty smart. White Hair was also from a gang background. Although Dae-ho is famous, now he must face 32 enemies alone. Salgut does not want to increase casualties unnecessarily. Their target is merely Cheon Ji-seung. So as long as they hand over Cheon Ji-seung, everyone will be safe. However, Dae-ho refuses in the next second. He is willing to do anything for money, even if it means facing 32 enemies alone. The thug he knocked down earlier stands up again. He swings a steel pipe at him. Unexpectedly, Dae-ho dodges by sidestepping. He strikes back directly at the jaw. Looking at the thugs rushing toward him, Dae-ho fires another shot. Then he charges into the crowd and starts swinging. On Cheon Ji-seung's side, he has already made the call. Hearing this, manager Mi is also shocked. On Dae-ho's side, he dodges another incoming attack. The pepper spray hits directly in the face. Yellow Hair, who was knocked down earlier, pulls out a knife and stabs toward Dae-ho. At the same time, he receives a blow to the back of his head. Seeing the attack is effective, Yellow Hair immediately becomes smug. However, he is kicked away by Dae-ho. Another thug on the other side tries to ambush Dae-ho. He is knocked out directly with a spray of pepper. White Hair does not understand Dae-ho's approach. At this moment, Salgut is urging him to finish quickly. White Hair thinks that both he and Dae-ho are working for privileged jerks who know nothing about loyalty and honor. However, he still does not understand why this man is fighting so desperately. Then he sighs that he and Dae-ho should not have left the gang. At least loyalty had meaning there. After battling for 2.5 hours, Dae-ho finally collapses. 32 people are indeed too many, although he has already knocked down most of them. White Hair demands Dae-ho hand over the keys or he will kill him. Dae-ho mocks them that these adults are actually kidnapping a kid. Just at this moment, a thug snatches the knife. He stabs fiercely toward Dae-ho. This guy seems quite persistent. Dae-ho often contemplates the meaning of his own existence. He collected debts for the gang. He participated in gang fights. He assassinated rival gang bosses. In the end, he ended up taking the fall for the gang boss's son. Looking at the knife so close at hand, his final worry is that there will be no one to care for his daughter, but he can only calmly face death. However, the knife does not fall as expected. It turns out Cheon Ji-seung blocked the strike with his hand. Dae-ho does not understand why he did this. Everyone present is shocked. Cheon Ji-seung indicates he will go with them. However, Yellow Hair does not intend to stop. Suddenly, a strike comes and hits his face. It is Salgut. After all, Cheon Ji-seung is a shaman who could potentially become Hoan's greatest asset. If he becomes disabled because of this thug, that would be problematic. However, White Hair stops him. Because other subordinates are present, they cannot make too much of a scene. Although Salgut stops, he still indicates he will hold them accountable. Then he walks up to Cheon Ji-seung. He introduces himself. He states the purpose of this visit. Cheon Ji-seung's only condition is not to harm Dae-ho any further. He then gets into the car with them. Dae-ho is also carried away. Salgut tells Cheon Ji-seung not to worry. Although they just left a bad impression, Justin. They will be working together in the future after all. Cheon Ji-seung feels Salgut is looking down on people. No one would want to work with someone who just harmed them. Salgut wants to explain something, but Cheon Ji-seung refuses his explanation. This immediately irritates him. Hoan is a conglomerate built on a gang foundation. If Cheon Ji-seung does not cooperate, Hoan will not hesitate to make him disappear. So do not show your disgust and obediently come with me to meet the chairman. Just at this moment, the car suddenly stops. The parking lot entrance has been blocked at some point. They are in a hurry right now. White Hair immediately orders his subordinate to open the gate. However, after 2.5 minutes, sounds come from behind. Seeing who arrives, the two are somewhat confused. The one who arrives is Chil-gun. It appears the subordinate has been knocked out. White Hair now recognizes this man is Kang Chil-gun. However, Yellow Hair has already stepped forward to provoke him. When he wants to stop him, it is already too late. Seeing this, White Hair pulls out a knife. Chil-gun ignores it and only demands to know Cheon Ji-seung's whereabouts. Seeing their appearance, he likely will not get any answers. The next second, he stabs fiercely with the knife. However, he is knocked unconscious with one punch by Chil-gun, along with the other thugs. Seeing this, Salgut wants to call for reinforcements. However, Chil-gun has already approached. This almost makes Salgut wet his pants. Chil-gun urges Salgut to open the car door, but it appears he does not intend to cooperate. Then necessary measures must be taken. The next second, the car window is shattered. Chil-gun tells Cheon Ji-seung he is safe now. However, Cheon Ji-seung shows distress, because Salgut has fainted from fright and even wet his pants. Cheon Ji-seung eventually gets out of the car. However, Chil-gun notices the injury on his hand. More importantly, they should send Dae-ho to the hospital first. Dae-ho's condition looks very poor. At the hospital, Cheon Ji-seung appears very anxious. He worries whether Dae-ho will be alright. Manager Mi reassures him that the surgery will not be life-threatening. However, it will require a long time to recover. Besides that, they should first think about how to retaliate against Hoan, that gang company. Cheon Ji-seung thought the beating Chil-gun delivered was already enough. However, Manager Mi states that if they leave this hornet's nest alone, troubles will be endless. Moreover, they now have a usable card. Tonight, they will use this guy to meet with Hoan. Cheon Ji-seung asks if he also needs to go. Of course, all parties involved must go. Do you have somewhere else to be? Cheon Ji-seung now needs to deliver food to someone. Cheon Ji-seung and Chil-gun arrive at the home of Dae-ho's daughter So-hee. Cheon Ji-seung identifies himself as Dae-ho's colleague and says he will take So-hee to eat. They then go to a restaurant to eat. Manager Mi points a gun at Salgut. Her most important asset almost got lost. Salgut states he had no intention of killing anyone. Manager Mi tells him to shut up or she will roast him alive. After eating, Cheon Ji-seung brings So-hee back home. So-hee immediately sees a photo of herself with her father. Then she asks Cheon Ji-seung when her father can come back. Cheon Ji-seung can only lie that Dae-ho is busy with work. Before that, Cheon Ji-seung tells So-hee to treat this place as her own home. He will leave a phone number. So-hee knows Cheon Ji-seung is going out and asks where he is going. Cheon Ji-seung is momentarily speechless. He can only say he is going to talk to the person who is keeping Dae-ho so busy. There are important matters to attend to now. Subsequently, Cheon Ji-seung and his group arrive at Home Group. Justin asks lazily whether he really must come himself. Manager Mi says the boss on the other side is also appearing. Justin sighs that they are indeed a bunch of scoundrels. Manager Mi worries that Justin did not bring bodyguards. Is it really alright? Justin appears completely unconcerned. Anyway, no matter what, the other side can only use kitchen knives or the like. He has a gun. Cheon Ji-seung thinks it is another air gun, but Justin says this is real. I heard you were attacked, you worked hard. However, Cheon Ji-seung says he is fine and asks Justin to take good care of Dae-ho. This leaves Justin somewhat speechless. Sometimes you should let Manager Mi teach you how to care for yourself. Manager Mi expresses she does not want to deal with it. Before they know it, they have almost arrived. Let the work begin now. Ma Young-sung has been waiting inside for a long time. Cheon Ji-seung and his group also walk in. At this moment, Cheon Ji-seung is somewhat timid. This is his first time seeing this kind of gang boss. Manager Mi sees Cheon Ji-seung's timid appearance. She grabs hold of him. Manager Mi tells Cheon Ji-seung to learn well. Watch how Justin handles this. The two first engage in a handshake strength contest. Ma Young-sung mocks Justin. Is the company so troubled that it needs to rely on shamans to catch its breath? Justin shows no weakness. It seems to be none of your business. Ma Young-sung acknowledges Justin's courage, so he wants to share some good news. He hopes Justin can sell Cheon Ji-seung to him. For this, he is willing to pay 28 billion, settled in stocks and bonds. You can find another one anyway. Ma Young-sung thinks this is a good proposal. However, Justin tells him to shut up. He bluntly states his breath stinks. Hearing this, everyone present is shocked. Ma Young-sung has not yet reacted. Justin states he has heard enough of his story. This time, let me tell mine, how I reached this position in Yoido without any connections. Justin warns Ma Young-sung to try touching Cheon Ji-seung if he dares. Then he shakes off Ma Young-sung's hand. You should have learned in high school not to covet what belongs to others. Or did you never attend high school? In any case, stop coveting what belongs to others. We did not come today to do business with you. We came to return your dog to you. He says this and prepares to leave. The subordinate sees someone actually daring to speak to the boss this way. He wants to step forward to teach Justin a lesson. However, the next second he immediately calms down. After all, what Justin has in his hand is no joke. Then he chooses to leave. Just with divine power is very difficult to survive within Yoido. Remember the employer's imposing manner just now. After hearing this, Cheon Ji-seung nods. Although the only thing worth learning is the boldness. Justin states that if Manager Mi quits smoking, he will quit women. Manager Mi immediately rolls her eyes at him. Just at this moment, Ma Young-sung suddenly throws a pool cue. However, it is blocked by Cheol-gun. You people just leave on your own. Where exactly did you learn your manners? Justin retorts that it was not the school that taught you kleptomania, was it? Ma Young-sung is furious and states that as long as he leaves behind the sudden death shaman, he will let Justin barely survive in Yoido. Manager Mi tells him that even being unreasonable has limits. Does he intend to use violence to threaten them? However, Ma Young-sung says that if they do not agree to his demands, he will sabotage every ritual of Gold Cross. Hearing this, Manager Mi is also shocked. Cheon Ji-seung never expected anyone could be so unreasonable. Ma Young-sung swears he will use every means to disrupt the rituals until Gold Cross goes bankrupt. Public authority will not protect these rituals of yours. So if you do not hand over the sudden death shaman, I will bring down your company. Justin tells him to bring it on. Who will die and who will survive is still uncertain. This time they really leave. Ma Young-sung now demands Salgut explain. Salgut stammers that there was a reason for his failure. Ma Young-sung clearly does not accept this answer. He now needs to vent his rage first. After punishing Salgut, Ma Young-sung states he will give Salgut one last chance. If he fails again, it will not be as simple as just a beating. Now they have completely burned bridges with Hoan. The three of them hold a small meeting. Manager Mi thinks declaring war directly is a bit too rash. This is not without reason. After all, Hoan is a large company with capital many times greater than Gold Cross. It is now like the battle between David and Goliath. However, there is no need to worry. This means he can be destroyed in one fell swoop. They must strike at the largest subsidiary under his name. So this ritual will target Hoan Construction. As long as it succeeds, they can take down Hoan in one blow. First, they must obtain approval from the board of directors. Justin clearly states they will target Hoan Construction. Among all Hoan subsidiaries, Hoan Construction has the largest share. As long as they bring down Hoan Construction, Hoan Investment may never recover. Now it is time for questions. One director asks first, the company should not have excess cash available right now, correct? Justin calmly says that starting tomorrow, they will liquidate all the company's quality assets for cash. Together, it will be approximately 120 billion. This causes the directors to erupt in uproar, because if this short selling fails, the company will face bankruptcy. How could Justin not know this? Director Lee then asks him why he is doing this. That is because they dared to covet what belongs to others, and they have already declared war on us. This is a battle where everything is at stake. Either they die or we survive. For the growth of Gold Cross, please support my decision. Manager Mi waits anxiously outside. Seeing Justin emerge, she rushes to meet him. Justin says excitedly that the board of directors has approved the use of funds. This will be the largest short sale in Gold Cross history. His role ends here. Now it is Cheon Ji-seung's turn to perform. Cheon Ji-seung will give his all to avenge Dae-ho, who is lying in the hospital. Meanwhile, Ma Young-sung also conducts strategic discussions on his side. Problems quickly arise on Cheon Ji-seung's side. Hoan bribes security and destroys their ritual site. Moreover, the detained thugs appear completely indifferent, as if they expected this all along. Not only that, even the trucks transporting materials are hijacked. The contracted assistants therefore resign. Even the band faces threats. Although nothing major happens, this cannot continue. This makes Yura-hee sigh in frustration. Manager Mi immediately steps forward and flicks her forehead. Yura-hee immediately snaps. Manager Mi calmly states that the two of them only need to consider how to perform the ritual. However, Cheon Ji-seung raises an idea at this moment. If they cannot perform the ritual inside the island, can they do it outside the island? Although it is possible. Their company is inside the island. The farther from the target, the weaker the divine power becomes. Is the answer not obvious? This makes Cheon Ji-seung feel a profound sense of helplessness. It feels as if he has returned to that period. This is a war to protect himself, a war that stakes the fate of the company. But now he cannot help at all. However, Yura-hee's next words give Cheon Ji-seung inspiration. Could they not perform the ritual while moving? This gives Cheon Ji-seung a bold idea. He proposes they can perform the ritual in a vehicle. Yura-hee thinks it is impossible. Manager Mi says they can set up a small ritual site inside a truck. Cheon Ji-seung says he wants to try. For everyone, he is willing to try. Soon they build a ritual site inside the truck. Manager Mi cannot help but sigh that this is a truly moving ritual. Hoan has already received the news. Gold Cross's short position will expire on Friday. Over the next 3 days, the stock price remains unchanged, although it pauses slightly due to the 120 billion short sale. But after the news is released, retail investors follow Hoan and purchase shares. The stock price actually rises by 5% as a result. Ma Young-sung merely says lightly that in 3 days they will see that small company go bankrupt. Have they made any moves? It seems they have completely abandoned attempts to perform rituals in Yoido. The surveillance sent out has not discovered anything special. Salgut reminds him that they may be performing the ritual outside Yoido, although the influence will be smaller than performing it in Yoido. Just in case, they should prepare blessing sorcery to protect the stock price. Ma Young-sung agrees with his suggestion. Salgut immediately states he will be prepared. However, Ma Young-sung tells him not to celebrate too early, because this poaching incident makes me no longer trust you. So it is better to let Bae-kim handle the blessing sorcery, with you assisting her. Also, there is one more thing. If this fails, you should know the consequences. Due to Ma Young-sung's suppression, Salgut feels very depressed. Just at this moment, a woman wearing white shaman robes walks in. She is Bae-kim, Hoan's blessing shaman. Hoan profits through death curses, so Salgut, who performs death curses, is the one with real power. Bae-kim wants to use this opportunity to overturn this situation. Then she greets Salgut with a mischievous smile. However, Salgut says seriously, stop being insolent and focus on the sorcery. If we fail, both of us will be finished. However, Baek-am is completely confident. The probability of my blessing sorcery performed inside the island losing to a death curse from outside the island is 0%. Immediately, she steps forward, picks up a dagger, and unfolds a fan. Salgut plays a guzheng beside her. Baek-am performs a fan dance following the rhythm. A gate suddenly appears in front of the company. A white snake suddenly bursts out from within the gate. This is the blessing sorcery, Spirit White Porcelain Dragon. It defends by coiling around the company. Manager Mei is observing everything from not far away. For this battle, Hoan has even deployed all its personnel. Just at this moment, Manager Mei's phone rings. Manager Kim is calling. Everything is now ready. They can begin at any time. Cheon Ji-seung uses 2 steel cables to secure his body and maintain balance. Suddenly, he notices Yu Ra-hee struggling to climb onto the truck bed. She has come to deliver earphones to Cheon Ji-seung. After the ritual begins, the music will be transmitted through earphones. During the ritual, he absolutely must not remove them. Yu Ra-hee feels sorry about this. As a support shaman, she cannot accompany Cheon Ji-seung this time. Cheon Ji-seung understands it is due to space constraints. Let them fist bump before starting, to successfully avenge Dae-ho. As the truck door slowly closes, Manager Mei also issues the command. 2 cars follow, and 1 truck begins the escort. Cheon Ji-seung feels vibrations beneath his feet. He understands the ritual has begun. The support shaman's incantation comes through the earphones. As the last word falls, the band also begins the rock music. Cheon Ji-seung immediately begins the blade dance. Manager Mei is observing through surveillance. Although theoretically feasible, she actually has no certainty in her heart. She can only pray that Cheon Ji-seung will make it possible with his talent. At the same time, a blood-red gate also appears before the white porcelain dragon. What exactly can be summoned from the endless darkness within the gate? Seeing this, Baek-am decides to fully commit herself. Her pupils suddenly widen. Through her eyes, she can control the white porcelain dragon and merge her consciousness with it. So what exactly will Cheon Ji-seung produce? Suddenly, a black sphere flies out from within the gate. Baek-am is also stunned when she sees it. Is this all there is? This makes her burst out laughing. The death curse of the great sudden death shaman is merely a soap bubble. Salgut reminds her from the side, do not let down your guard. Do you want to disrupt the flow of divine power? If they are truly performing the ritual outside the island, then we currently occupy the high ground. An unremarkable appearance does not mean weak power. The black sphere suddenly transforms. Immediately, a black spike flies toward the white porcelain dragon. However, the effect appears questionable. Seeing this, Baek-am loses her composure even more. I never expected my senior to suffer such humiliation. This makes Salgut feel somewhat ashamed and angry. Is the task merely to stop the death curse? It seems really simple. Let us finish this quickly now. Before she finishes speaking, the white porcelain dragon charges fiercely toward the black sphere. However, the black sphere instantly dodges. This makes Baek-am think, could it be an agility type? She attacks 3 times in succession, all missing. Moving the large white porcelain dragon consumes relatively more divine power. She must change tactics. Immediately, Baek-am has the white porcelain dragon coil up again to gather strength. Meanwhile, the distant black sphere transforms again, bursting into the shape of insects. Could it be the god of plague? However, this is not important. Baek-am immediately instructs her assistant to bring chicken blood. First, she soaks the dagger in chicken blood. Then she swallows the dagger. What Baek-am intends to do is enhance the completeness of the ritual. Because the white porcelain dragon is a spiritual creature specifically designed to balance defense, the best method is to increase the divine power supplied to the white porcelain dragon. At the same time, Cheon Ji-seung's death curse transforms again. Finally, it splits into the form of a salamander. However, the size difference is still very large. Salgut also notices something is wrong with Baek-am. He suddenly looks up. He can see the difference in divine power. Cheon Ji-seung's death curse has not only changed in appearance, its divine power itself is also growing. Generally speaking, divine power is like a type of spiritual power. The transmission speed is linked to distance. Such immense divine power cannot be transmitted from outside the island to inside so quickly. Salgut momentarily cannot believe his own conjecture. However, he still feels he must verify it. Rather than providing an impossible reason, he should consider how they made this possible. Immediately, he calls Ma Yong-sung. The sudden death shaman seems to be entering the island while the ritual is being performed. As long as they can find them, it will bring victory to Hoan. Ma Yong-sung immediately orders all personnel be assigned to Salgut. Now conduct the search centered around Mapo Bridge. Aside from the sudden death shaman, it does not matter if others are killed. Let them taste the ruthlessness of the Great Empire faction. The pursuers quickly arrive at Mapo Bridge. They have already discovered the truck performing the ritual. They have already set up defenses ahead. There are also pursuers behind. Chil-gun suggests getting out first to clear a batch. However, Manager Kim says there is no need. How could sedans possibly stop a truck? Then he accelerates the truck and rams forward. This scene completely shatters the thugs' understanding. To save their lives, they have no choice but to dodge. They successfully break through the first line of defense. Salgut never expected they would fail to stop them. Now change strategy. Directly use violent methods to board the truck. The thug is about to jump onto the truck. The car behind gives him a push. As expected, he also falls unconscious on the spot. Some thugs have already climbed onto the truck. However, Manager Kim appears exceptionally calm. Immediately, he splashes a cup of hot tea toward the thug. The thug immediately experiences free fall. Baek-am also begins to struggle. Cheon Ji-seung's death curse keeps transforming, and its power grows stronger and stronger. Now it not only stops evading, but even begins counterattacking. If the death curse transforms a few more times, it will be over. On Cheon Ji-seung's side, he continues to accelerate the rhythm. He can feel it is almost complete. Just a little more. So far, everything is going smoothly. Suddenly, a truck flashes out ahead. Seeing this, Manager Kim quickly jerks the steering wheel. On Cheon Ji-seung's side, he is about to complete it, but he suddenly loses balance. The truck tilts due to the sharp turn. Finally, it rolls over. The scene is a total mess. Manager Kim loses consciousness on the spot. Cheon Ji-seung's ankle and hand are severely fractured. Cheol-gun also falls and cannot get up. Learning of the accident, Manager Mi panics for a moment. She immediately orders them to check on the shaman's condition first. Surprisingly, Cheol-gun actually stands up. The current situation is dire. Hoan's people will likely swarm in immediately. Cheol-gun then approaches the truck door. He steps forward to pull. The sturdy truck door is forcibly torn off by him. Cheon Ji-seung's current condition is very poor. Worse still, Hoan's personnel have arrived. Cheon Ji-seung's death curse is also gradually dissipating. This is the worst situation. Everything seems to be settled. However, Cheon Ji-seung regains consciousness at this moment, looking at the fighting outside and his own fractured fingers. He simply cannot muster any strength. It feels like he has been dreaming. He received attention he had never received before. He lived in a place he had never lived before. He tried eating things he had never eaten. He was given what he could not give himself. He also had a group of precious companions. Cheon Ji-seung is unwilling to wake up like this. He still wants to continue this dream, but now he does not know what to do. However, another Cheon Ji-seung says, "Do what you can." As if he has thought of something, he slowly gets up. The only thing he can do now is continue the ritual. He uses all his strength to lift the altar table. Seeing this, everyone stops fighting. Does this severely injured guy want to continue the ritual? Immediately, Cheon Ji-seung raises his ritual tool. He will use all his strength to perform the blade dance one more time. Blood seeps from his scalp, obscuring his vision. The pain from his twisted fingers and ankle crawls up his nerves. The headache caused by the concussion. The debris scattered across the truck. The brawl between thugs and bodyguards. The incomprehension in their eyes. A young man is conducting a ritual. This is the only thing he can do right now. Salgut beside him can hardly breathe. As someone who can sense divine power, he can feel the gap between himself and Cheon Ji-seung. It feels as if he is sinking into the deep sea. However, Ma Young-sung's threats linger in his ears. This instantly brings him to his senses. This guy has reached a state of complete selflessness. If this continues, Baek-am will lose control. Necessary measures must be taken. All the thugs charge toward Cheon Ji-seung and his group. The numerical disadvantage becomes evident once again. In the end, only Cheol-gun remains. Salgut pushes through the crowd. He looks exactly like a smug, triumphant, petty person. Cheol-gun mocks him as someone who cannot even pee properly yet talks so much. This infuriates Salgut so much that he immediately wants to send him to his death. Suddenly, a van rushes in front of them, interrupting his action. Quite a few people get out of the vehicle. These people are all brought by Dae-ho, who should be lying in the hospital. He came today to pay for his daughter's meal. He immediately equips himself again. All the bodyguards charge toward the thugs. At the same time, Manager Kim struggles to get up. He connects his phone to the car system. Music instantly fills the scene. Cheon Ji-seung's ritual is almost complete. Subsequently, a powerful dark energy erupts from around his body. The dark energy quickly reaches the white porcelain dragon. It attacks toward its abdomen. The white porcelain dragon's abdomen immediately begins to swell. Generally speaking, pouring power into a devoured deity is meaningless. However, in the next second, the white porcelain dragon begins to lose control. Immediately, a crow flies out from its mouth. Finally, it transforms into a tiger. The tiger then pounces toward the white porcelain dragon. This scene completely shatters Baek-am's understanding as a shaman. The deity summoned by Cheon Ji-seung is called Black Ghost, a spirit that feeds on divine power and fear, growing gradually. Just with Cheon Ji-seung's divine power alone, it has reached its current size. The white porcelain dragon and Black Ghost instantly engage in combat. Baek-am directly loses the will to resist. It feels as if she is facing a wall. This death curse can even speak human words. Suddenly, its head begins to twist. Finally, it forcibly tears its own head off. Then it transforms into a pool of black tide. In just an instant, it covers the entire area around the company. Baek-am also discovers that her divine power is mysteriously beginning to disappear. A hand reaches out from the black tide. A giant figure rises from the ground. It is said that its existence was passed down by word of mouth in 8 provinces. However, there was no precise description of it. This may be because each person has a different object of fear in their heart. Suddenly, the giant's face begins to transform. The giant manifests into the object Baek-am fears most, Chairman Ma Young-sung. In just an instant, she is engulfed by fear, along with the staff beside her. Has anyone said that fear is a spreading plague? Soon the target shifts to Salgut. This makes Salgut's body tremble involuntarily. Whitehair reports the battle situation beside him. However, he shows no reaction at all. It turns out he has fallen victim to it. Seeing this, Whitehair is instantly frozen in place. The usually superior shaman has actually become like this. Immediately, he collapses to the ground. Even though Whitehair does not understand sorcery, he can tell that. This is the phenomenon that occurs when a ritual succeeds. Besides, they have no additional personnel to deploy. Knowing defeat is certain, he calls off his subordinates. He flees the scene in disarray. This finally allows the two to breathe a sigh of relief. Dae-ho is injured again from this battle. However, he still tells Cheol-gun to check on Cheon Ji-seung first. Meanwhile, Cheon Ji-seung stands motionless in place. The ritual is completed at this moment. What follows is the finishing work. The giant grabs the white porcelain dragon with one hand, then pries open its mouth, finally tears it in half. The moment he sees the white porcelain dragon dissipate, Cheon Ji-seung finally collapses with relief. The effects of the curse begin the next morning, starting with a plunge in stock prices, then massive artificial sell-offs. Contracted buildings collapse. Negative news about large real estate projects projects, corruption issues related to reconstruction. Most importantly, Ma Young-sung is urgently arrested. Besides that, internal personnel from Hoan Group continue to report violations. A series of problems leads Ma Young-sung to imprisonment. At the same time, Cheon Ji-seung wakes up in the hospital room. He turns his head and discovers Dae-ho is also there. His first concern is still for Dae-ho's physical condition. Dae-ho tells Cheon Ji-seung to move gently or the stitches will come loose. I heard you have been taken care of so he all this time and even avenged me. Thank you so much. Cheon Ji-seung says if you want to thank me, let us work together long term. After all, finding a high-paying job is not easy. How could Dae-ho give up this job? Others also come to visit the two shortly after. Cheon Ji-seung anxiously asks manager Mi how the outcome turned out. If the stock price did not drop significantly, Gold Cross would be in danger. Manager Mi does not speak. She just takes out her phone. Hoan Construction stock has halted trading directly. Undoubtedly, it is a huge success. Hoan stock dropped about 30% in one day. When trading resumes tomorrow, it will drop again. Another pleasant collaboration. Cheon Ji-seung finally relaxes. Thank goodness this was truly dangerous. Cheon Ji-seung has done it once again. This time, it was entirely through his own power. Yoo Ra-hee suddenly appears at this moment, breaking the atmosphere. She wants to know how much Gold Cross earned this time. Manager Mi jokes that you should not be curious about how much the company earned. Do you want to know if your pay will be reduced this time? Dae-ho states he does not care how much money he receives this time. The band also echoes in agreement. Finally, Yoo Ra-hee throws the question to Cheon Ji-seung. Cheon Ji-seung merely says he will probably handle it well. Yoo Ra-hee stamps her feet in frustration. The hospital room is instantly filled with a cheerful atmosphere. Soon it is time to share the results again. However, Justin has not prepared cash for this. Suddenly he changes his tone. That is because there is too much money to withdraw all at once. Cheon Ji-seung is the first to ask exactly how much money there is. Justin does not speak. He just writes a string of numbers and hands it to Cheon Ji-seung. However, judging by this gesture, the amount is certainly massive. If this commission is to be settled immediately, the payment period extends to 5 years. Because of Cheon Ji-seung, Gold Cross not only survived from the cliff this time, but its position in the industry has even risen. However, Cheon Ji-seung humbly states it is not entirely his credit. I am happy that everything went smoothly. Justin now finally understands why manager Mi particularly favors Cheon Ji-seung. He is not weak, just kind. So Justin has a proposal. In addition to this commission, we will also share Gold Cross's equity. Now you are no longer a shaman who performs rituals according to our instructions. You are a partner who grows together with us. At the same time, in the detention center on the other side, Sulgood comes to visit according to instructions. Ma Young-sung suddenly asks him if he thinks that because he is in prison he can rest easy. Sulgood immediately defends himself in panic. Ma Young-sung says you really lack awareness. Deal with everyone who reported violations and cooperated with the police investigation. Since I am still alive, I absolutely will not let them have peace. After working under me for so many years, they still do not know what they should do. Although you are not a traitor, you are also responsible for creating today's situation. Before answering, think about your family first. What you need to do is cast a death curse on Gold Cross's Justin and the sudden death shaman to kill them. Ma Young-sung wants to make those who took everything from him pay the price. Sulgood states this is impossible. Shamans in Yeouido must follow the rules and can only target companies, not individuals. Even if the rules are not followed, curses will be interfered with. Hearing this, Ma Young-sung says seriously that if you do not do this, then I will kill you and your family. No exceptions. Either they die or your family dies. However, with Sulgood's abilities, he is not sufficient to directly kill the opponent. Ma Young-sung has already thought of this, so he has prepared a voodoo curse object, an item that enhances the power of death curses. Remember to do it unless you want to be buried together with your family.